All right, all right. What's up, everybody? Good evening. This is Ovaya Inspiración. I know it's been a while, but as you guys know, I had a child 3 months ago, almost 4 months ago. So I was like out of the loop. There was no such thing as YouTube anymore. There was such thing as free time. All my free time was just at home helping my wife, waking up every hour and a half to feed the baby. So it's been a journey, but I'm happy to be back. And I've been putting out more videos, more shorts, which is becoming a lot easier to do. So it's good. But let's go ahead and let's start. So today, this evening, we have this lovely couple that I do not know anything about them except for one thing. So we have Dennis. You see, I'm already messing up your name in my mind. Dennis and Seneca. There you go.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah,
got
there
it.
you go. Dennis and Seneca. Right. So we're here because they're gonna share their story of paying off $100,000 in debt in 3 years, and
Yep.
that's outside of the mortgage that they have.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of money, and we're gonna talk about how you got there, where did all that money come from, what did you guys do, what did you guys didn't do, because a lot of people need to know. A lot of people are in that journey, or a lot of people wish they could be in that journey, but they don't know where to start. And you guys seem like, well, I'm 36 years old, so you guys, at least you guys look younger than I am, but I could be wrong. I don't know. But you guys still are a young couple regardless. And it's just great to see other young people just in that journey of paying off debt, because debt sucks. Debt
Well,
really keeps us in a trap and all that kind of stuff. Well,
Mhm.
you're gonna say something?
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah. I'm 27. Dennis
Okay.
is 30.
Okay. Oh,
um,
welcome to the
and
30s. I feel better now.
glad I don't look like I don't
Yeah.
have.
You look younger. You have like a baby face still. My wife is 28, so all right, cool. So we're gonna get into it. So can you just, I guess we can start with Dennis or whoever. Just introduce yourselves. Where you guys from? How long you've been married, and if you went to school, all that shenanigans.
Yeah, my name's Dennis. I'm 30 years old. Uh, we live in Ohio. We've been married for 6 years, almost seven now. It'll be seven this month. We're going to celebrate our anniversary this month. And I'm an LPN, which is a nurse, licensed practical nurse. And I've
Nice.
been that for as long as we've been married. I literally we got married in January, and then I got my LPN license. I passed the board about 2 or 3 weeks later. So, yep, we've been doing that for 6 years, and you can tell them about you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm 27. My name is Seneca. I'm also from Ohio. Dennis isn't originally from Ohio, but I actually born and raised in Ohio.
Okay.
um, we met in high school, but we're not high school sweethearts. We rekindled afterwards. We started working together
Mhm.
a little bit after I graduated high school. And that is when we rekindled. I was a freshman, Dennis was a senior, so we didn't talk much in high school, but like hi and bye here and there.
Mhm.
Kind of rekindled afterwards. As far as like what kind of debt it was, most of it was Dennis' student loans.
Yep.
Mm.
I didn't have any, but Dennis had about 80,000 in
Oh, so I see what Dennis did.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
yeah. So and then some of it was cars. We had two cars, both were about 15. All right. Or
Yeah,
by
about
the time
15.
we started paying on it, it was a little bit less.
Mhm.
But then we had a little bit of credit card. Am I leaving anything out?
Well, student
That's it.
loan, credit cards, and the cars.
We actually paid it all off almost 4 years ago now in 2019. So we started paying on it in 2016, and then by 2019 we were done with it.
Mm.
We were really super intentional, like the first couple of years actually, but
Yeah.
the last full year, 2018, we paid off 48,000 that year. And that was definitely the hardest year, but that was like the year that we were just like not playing around. And
Yeah.
we ended up paying it off February of 2019.
Okay.
So Yeah.
Wow.
So
Interesting.
now
So,
I'm paying for a mortgage.
Yep.
okay, that's good. That's good. So we're gonna work out the details on these things. But I was watching a video yesterday from you guys. I forgot the title,
Uh-oh,
but
what
I heard that you slid in Dennis's DM. Is that so? How did that happen?
Well, I think he was talking about like originally before we kind of rekindled. I did just kind of telling him like, "Hey, you're a good-looking guy. I mean, hey,
Oh
go
snap!
after it and get what you want, ladies. Okay."
Right.
So that's kind of when I think I more so let him know that I was interested. But we still kind
Mhm.
of were like just friends for a while we were working together and things like that. I thought Dennis was like so childish, and I'm just
Mhm.
like, but he has potential. So I was also just like, with the potential, yes, shoot your shot. He had a lot of potential. He was a nice guy. I knew I needed a nice guy. And he used to pray before we ate when we would go out
Mm.
eat or like at work. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like he's praying over our food. So a lot of things that I was just like, that's the one.
Mm.
Yeah, the rest is history.
Interesting. And now you guys have what? Two kids? Two
Yes,
boys, I think it is.
two
Boys, yeah.
Oh,
boys,
okay. Okay.
two
That's,
five.
wow. How's that? How's that parent life? I mean, I'm new to this, but how's that for you guys?
Well,
Right?
you're just getting started now.
It's a
It can
little
happen.
chaotic
Yeah,
right
it
now.
can be stressful. But look at them, you're like, oh, they're so cute. Like I
Oh,
can't be cute. So it's balance, but we wouldn't trade them for the world.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
once
That's
once
awesome.
you sleep and you just look at them like, wow, they're so peaceful when they're not talking.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. It's funny because I posted something the other day on my Facebook talking about how, because my son is really a calm baby. Like he does not fuss. He does not really cry. He's not one of those babies that gives a hard time. He can sleep through the night most of the time. And then
good.
my friend was like, my friend who has a baby, she was like, oh, you know what they say? The first child tricks us into having a second one.
That's
That
funny.
is.
I feel
Oh
like
yeah.
for us, my oldest, I was like, we're not having any more kids. We're about to be
Oh
one.
boy.
But then I feel like my second one, he was a calmer baby until he
Mhm.
got to be like 18 months or so. Now he's screaming all the time. And he's
Terrible twos.
Wow. Oh boy. Don't remind me of that. I'm not looking forward to that part yet.
Oh,
yeah.
Man, that's awesome. Okay, so 100K in 3 years. I'm assuming a lot of that money came from overtime as a nurse. Am I
yeah,
right? Am I
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So talk to me about that because you as a husband and as a father working overtime and then you have your kids, like how was it stressful? What kept you guys motivated to pay off this debt? Like tell me the details. How does that work out?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'll even start a little before when we first started really attacking the debt. I hadn't like in my past, I hadn't really paid attention to all my debt, and I would buy things on a credit card and just think to forget about it and not even want to pay on it. Just think it would just disappear somehow. I was so
Oh
naive.
boy.
So like basically, I went to a bunch of different schools. At first, I thought I was going to become a doctor, so I was doing pre-med. So I went to this private school at first, and it was really expensive tuition, and I
Mm,
lived on campus on top of that. So I basically racked up a bunch of student loans. I had some scholarships, but it didn't cover the whole cost. So I ended up taking like some private loans out and a bunch of loans, transferred to a public school after that, took out more loans. Wasn't doing well in my classes, wasn't paying attention, too busy
mm.
partying. And then I ended up getting on academic probation. So, of
Oh
course,
wow.
here I ended up taking another private loan for the whole cost. So, normally it's like you get financial aid, you get some grants, but when you're
Hmm.
on probation, they don't give you anything. So, I didn't even tell my parents about it. I just took a whole private loan out for that whole academic year and ended up getting dismissed from the school for poor grades.
Oh wow.
So fast forward to 2014, my dad, he's passed now,
Mm,
but he advised me to try a nursing school. So I
mhm.
tried a nursing school. I took out more loans for that. And I did a 1-year program, which is the LPN program. And thank God I passed all that in 1 year. And then I got my license. And that's once I started to see the total number, my wife actually showed me. Well, she didn't show me, but like we sat down and we looked at all the numbers and I saw exactly how much debt I was in. And I'm just like, I'll never pay this off. Like $80,000. What's the point of even trying to pay it off? It's going to take forever. And then she encouraged me to make the first payment. How much was that first payment?
$50.
$50.
Hey, it's got to start somewhere.
Yeah, gotta start somewhere.
So I'm thinking like $50, that's not going to do anything to this 80. But that first step helped us get into the momentum to start off. And then when I got my first job as a nurse, I would work a lot of overtime. So typically in my field, you work like 3 12-hour shifts a week. So you have 4 days off. So I would pick up those extra days and pick up extra shifts. I worked during the day, if they had a shift available at night, I would pick up that 12-hour shift at night, take some drinks, coffee, or whatever I had, and stay up somehow. And I would just do that. Some of my coworkers would make fun of me, like, "Oh, Dennis loves being here." And in back of my mind, I'm like, "Yeah, because I'm trying to get this overtime, get this money, do anything I can to pay off this debt." So that was really the start, like at overtime. And she worked a lot too, for sure.
Yeah. Where were you working?
I actually, since we've been dating, I've been working for a credit card company. So I still work there. We've been working from home since the pandemic. So I would work overtime too. Like it was really hard actually, especially the last full year in 2018. That's when I would work the most. Like I would work 8 to 4:30, but I'd get there at 6. Like I'd get up super early. And just like thinking now, being used to working from home, thinking about driving and like getting up that early, like is it going to go do overtime? Now I'm just like, whew. But that's what I would do. I would work like from like 6 to 6:30 just so I could get 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
And like 4 hours overtime a day would, equal out to. Work a whole bunch, like just be there all the time. My coworkers too, they'd be like, "Do you ever spend time with your family?" I'm like, "Yes," but I'm still like trying to get money so we can pay off this debt basically. So yeah, it's been a long journey. Once we paid it off in 2019, it was so worth it. Like
so relieving.
Yeah, super relieving. We immediately just moved to starting to save for a down payment on a house because that was really just like the ultimate goal was to have a house. We would rent apartments that were like super cheap, but then also kind of sketchy, and like our neighbors were terrible, and we just hated it. Couldn't wait to have a house. So yeah, we saved up 20% to put down payment on the house, and now we're half the mortgage.
That's good. That's good. That's good. I mean, it's like Dave Ramsey said, live like no one else now, so later you can live like no one else, right? Yeah. You got to sacrifice now, don't worry about what everybody else is doing, living that quote unquote good life. You do what you got to do, because then that's when you're really going to be ahead of most people. You know what I'm saying? And that's a beautiful thing. And I can't wait till I get there, And my wife and I, we've been paying debt for the past since December 2019, because that's when we got married in December 29. And then we just got into that free journey, and we're just paying off that debt. And for us, 2020 during the pandemic, it was the best year. I mean, I got raises at work. I stopped doing Uber for 3 months because of the pandemic, but I wasn't driving an hour to work anymore, so saving money on gas. Not really eating out anymore because where we can go, everything was closed. So we were paid off. We paid off so much debt. And stimulus check helped us out too. So we paid off like almost $30,000 that year. And we paid off 2 cars in 2 years and 5 months, and that's $30,000. So it's a sacrifice, and we still got more to go, but it's not like it was before. And, to God be the glory, with doing things the right way. And obviously I was never brought up that way, thinking about finances. Even though my parents were super responsible, with their finances, but my parents never taught me anything about financial literacy, which caused me to make, a lot of mistakes and not know anything, when it comes to that. But thank God I know enough that I have experience and whatnot. So before we get into more of that debt-free journey, I saw that you guys got married with $35. How?
Call it out.
Like, why didn't you just get a $25,000 wedding and have a nice beautiful reception and go on a honeymoon? And yeah, you would have gotten into debt, but the memories, the pictures, like, why didn't you go that route, the typical common route? And this is not throwing shade to anybody that gets in debt for a wedding, even though I personally believe that you shouldn't get in debt for a wedding. We didn't either. um we didn't have your story in the sense that $35, but we were gonna get married at the courthouse. But then, like 2 months prior to getting married, we received a phone call. Well, she received a phone call from relative and whatnot. And long story short, we were blessed. So we had a free wedding at a nice, beautiful Airbnb home and a nice backyard, and we didn't pay a dime, not even for the honeymoon. We paid. So we had a free wedding because we were not going to get in debt for a wedding. Like, no way. But tell us, $35, how? Why didn't you go the traditional route?
Yeah, I mean, really, the idea of like a big wedding, that really wouldn't have been like us anyway. Just because like we're really to ourselves. We don't have like a ton of friends. Like we don't have like and like we have like family, but just the idea of it's not really like we're more simple people basically. We knew we planned to get married. We had actually went to like downtown to get our license. And so then, of course, once that happened, like that day, I was just like, let's just get married. Let's just do it today. And I couldn't wait at that point. And Dennis is just, he just wants to make me happy. He's like, okay. And so we literally just looked up someplace online that lets you like say some vows and then like you're married. Like they like you have someone there who like signs off on your like marriage license and everything. And so that's what we did. We just like hopped on the freeway, drove for like 20 minutes, and it was like called like a sign and go. And we ended up just driving there, saying some vows, and then we were married. And it was like so easy. It was like so easy. If anybody who wants to get married but doesn't think they can pay for it, definitely do that. That was basically 7 years ago. So I'm sure they have more places now that do that. But yeah, that was just the idea. We already had like a ton of debt. Like we didn't need to try to pay for a huge wedding. So
that's really, really, really awesome, because you guys probably still be paying debt if you had that wedding debt.
Yeah, that would set us back for sure if we went into debt.
Yeah, because at that point we had not even started really paying on it like that. We really hadn't at all. So we were probably oblivious.
And you know how most marriages today end in divorce. And we wanted to focus a lot of our relationship on the marriage. We wanted to focus on our marriage and our future than a one-night wedding. Like people do spend a lot of money, and we don't agree also with going into debt for that. So we just want on our marriage. We know we love each other. We see our future. We know we're going to sacrifice now for a few years, and in the future we're going to have a prosperous time.
Of course. And we can always, and I get it. I mean, I'm not a girl. I know most women, is every woman's dream to have a wedding, except for my wife. My wife didn't care. She was the very opposite of most women. She didn't care for a wedding. As a matter of fact, I was a crazy one that wanted a wedding so bad. But she did not care for it. She was not too excited about it, but because it was offered and I was like, you know what, we'll do it, so we did it, but at the end of the day, we have to, and I always think about it like, okay, yes, the memories, the pictures, and all that kind of stuff, but for one night, when the party is not even for the wedding, the wedding couple, for the couple, the party is for the people. For the people that are probably going to be complaining that the food was too cold, or the food didn't taste, it was too salty, or a whole table didn't show up, or whatever the case may be, you know? Like, hey, at the end of the day, they're not the one paying for our debt. They're not the one paying for our rent or our mortgage when we come back home, you know? So I always like to think of it that way. And my slogan is, or my phrase is, think long term, right? And that's just the reality of it. So when paying off debt, did you guys use the debt snowball, or did you use a different method of paying off debt?
We did use it to kind of like the smallest to largest aspect, but at the same time, I also kind of use the debt avalanche, which is high.
Okay, the opposite. Mm-hmm.
So I used it with both. Like some, like if he had multiple student loans, like we said, so
Yeah.
multiple servicers or like providers, like the loan company,
Mm-hmm.
like Navient. There was some through like a different bank. So I kind of would pick like with Navient, that one was like 35,000, and then there were like loans. Like I'm trying to explain it the best way I can. Basically, like
Mm-hmm.
each loan is listed that makes up that 35. So I would start with the smallest one of that, you know, to pay it off and decide to like once we were done with that, there was another loan that one interest rate would go up like every 3 months. Like it was like a variable interest rate. So after that, I started focusing on that one as far as like, okay, let's start paying this one first because this
Mm-hmm.
interest rate going up every 3 months. It's crazy. So yeah, we kind of did a little bit of both.
Of
Yeah.
course, I was signing up for these loans. I wasn't paying attention to interest rates or anything. I'm just like, everybody has student loans, private
Yeah.
loan. Oh, variable APR here, whatever. And then once we
This,
sat down, and I'm like, wow, this is
uh-huh.
really
For sure. It's the interest rate. People don't know. If you don't know about interest rate, that's gonna kill you.
exactly.
Yeah.
Whether it's credit cards, any type of loans, like that's how they make their money. You know, we feel like we never get ahead because we're only paying that balance, but really we're not really paying everything because we got the interest rate. Like I remember one of my car payments was $244 a month for the car payment. And when that became my lowest debt, then I started attacking it and putting more. And I remember I was putting like $2,000 a month. And I remember what these suckers did. You know what they did? They lowered my monthly payment to $57 a month
That's crazy.
wow.
because they saw that I started making big payments. So we're like, okay, cool. Now you can just make 57. But that's a trap because I did the calculation. And if I would have kept paying $57 a month, I would have been paying for that car for more than 10 years.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
But that's how they keep you.
Yeah.
But I'm like, nope, it ain't happening. So what I did is, and I have a video on that too, where it was back in, I think 2020 of August, I was like, I'm gonna pay off my car in 4 months. And my car had $12,000 left. And guess what? I paid off my car in those months. I put $3,000 each month. I'm like, y'all ain't keeping me with that trap.
There you
Yeah.
go.
You know? Yeah, it's a big deal. Have you guys seen the documentary Borrowed Future?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Like I didn't have those loans that those people had, but I felt like I had it just listening to them and watching them.
Oh yeah.
You know, one of the guys had like 112,000 in student loan, but because of interest rate and all that, he wound up paying like almost 130.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
no, no, I'm not against education, but I truly believe that the financial system in the education world is a scam. It's a
Yeah.
scam,
It's
big
a
time. You got people with a master's degrees working as a cashier in Walmart. Like what?
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Don't make
not normal.
Yeah.
That's not normal.
About like what are you going to do with your degree? Like me personally, I've never been to college, but still, like to anyone else that might be like thinking about going to school, you really have to think about,
Mm,
okay, what is this degree going to do for me? Am I going to be able to work in my field? Things like that, because a lot of times people just get degrees and they can't do anything with it. So I just think
yeah.
that like I agree with Dave Ramsey in that aspect as far as him saying there needs to be like a change or they need to like
Hmm.
stop giving so much.
Yeah.
Like if that means okay, you can't like go your fourth year, like try to save up for it or something. Like it's gonna help you in the long run.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, exactly. So let me ask you, now that you guys, well, been parents for 5 years already, um, and how did that change? I mean, I'm assuming you were already paying debt even when you had before before you had kids, were you already paying off debt or no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So even after that, how did that change everything for you guys? Because now you got to think about your kids' future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Def-
saying? That changed a lot for me. And even before he was born, I started thinking about it more. I'm like, oh snap. Like I'm 36. I can't play games anymore. But how did that change for you? What was that turning point? Like, oh man, like this needs to be gone.
yeah, it definitely sets you up for the future. You're just thinking these kids are so little now. You know, when you're working more overtime and things, they won't see you as much, but these are the memories that are going to last in the future. So when you start paying off your debt, you have less stress at home. In the future, you can pay for things in cash if they need to do soccer or things like that. You don't have to feel stressed if they have to go to school events. You don't have to feel stressed that, oh, how can I afford this? How can I, help my son out, help them out? And you can even help other kids too, because you just have so little expenses, so your money just feels like you have so much more. So yeah,
Mm,
it made me feel more looking towards the future for that aspect.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm glad it's like they're still really young, so I don't feel like they're getting impacted that much as far as like when we were working overtime. Like when I would work a
Hmm.
ton of overtime, my oldest was one. So I just know that it's not as much as like say if they were in high school doing sports and things like that, like I think it would impact them more later on. So as far as like them and their future though, at least we can show them like what not to do.
Yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. And Dennis, are you still a nurse? Are you still working?
Yes.
Are you still doing overtime? Because I know you guys trying to pay off that mortgage, but maybe you turned it down a little bit, which is okay. But are you
As
still doing overtime?
as compared to when we were getting out of the consumer debt, it's not as much
Hmm.
time because
Yeah.
now we have a little more room to breathe. And back then the our salaries were lower. So over the years it's gone up a little. So I
Okay.
haven't had
So it
as
kind
much.
of works out. Hmm.
Yeah. But I
Yeah.
still do I still do work. I even have two jobs. So
Okay.
I do work extra.
Got it. Got it. Hey, I mean, listen. The good thing is that you don't have consumer debt, and your house is over time building equity. So, so whenever later on, if you decide to sell the house or whatever, hey, you're gonna get that money's worth, and you're
Yeah.
gonna look back into your 20s, early 20s or whatever, and be like, I remember those days.
Mhm.
I remember those days. Two kids working my butt off, but it
Mhm.
was all worth it. And that's must be a great feeling. And again, like Dave Ramsey said, the grass seems greener now.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
Yes, for sure, for sure. That's really, really good. And I really hope that um a lot of people can pick up. And I know that obviously you guys are not the only stories. Like there's a young lady who I interviewed 2 years ago. I don't know if you follow them, but follow her. But her Instagram handle is just sent gems. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Mm-mm.
Well, she paid off I think $93,000 in 3 years by herself.
Wow.
She pretty much was working like three jobs. She was living with roommates, sleeping on the floor almost like by
Yeah.
herself. And now, she was married. Now she's married. She has a son. She has her own business, and now she's, I think, making six figures now and all that kind of. So, that's a big deal.
yeah.
So it's just seeing those stories. It's like, and she just wrote a book too, and I just finished reading her book as well. So it's possible, and I know that for many of us, it seems impossible because I mean, let's be real. The pandemic hit a lot of people hard.
Yeah.
For me and my wife, it actually did good. Not that even though I wish the pandemic never existed, but we took advantage because it
Yeah.
did a lot of good for us financially. But for a lot of people, it didn't. So we need that encouragement. We need more stories like you guys, especially young couples, doing this journey, and that it's not impossible. It may take a little bit longer for some others, depending on their finances, depending even where they live, in more expensive states like Miami or California or New York, but it's possible. And
Yeah.
if I can do it, and I'm not even there yet, but if I'm where I'm at now, listen, anybody can do it.
Yeah,
Anybody, because literally financial art, when it comes to finances, it's literally 20% head knowledge and 80% behavior.
yeah,
And mind you, I'm not a math person. I hate math. I never did good in math. You listen, when I was about to get a test on algebra, I thought I was like my life was about to end. Like it was that bad. I was a C student, C minus in math. I hate it with a passion. But why was I able to pay off so much debt in the past 4 years? And it not even it's not because I knew a lot of math. I just knew the basic, but it
yeah.
was all about changing the mindset, changing the behavior. Can you talk to us about changing your mindset when it comes to finances? Because a lot of people can make six figures and they're still broke.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I definitely think changing your mindset, and I feel like that probably like goes over a lot of people's heads, but it really is like key to paying off debt or just changing anything because it's like you really have to want it. A lot of people they say they want to be debt free, but they really don't, or they're really not willing to change behavior or just say this is something I really want to do. What do I have to do to get there? Okay, I'm actually going to do what I have to do to get there. Like I'm actually going to not even think about it and just send the payment every single time. So yeah, changing your mindset is definitely like key. You
Mm-hmm.
have to just like be willing to not just like say, okay, I'm going to go on vacation because I deserve it. Like you have to be willing to just cut all that out. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not just, okay, like you deserve to have a cash flow vacation after you pay off your debt. Like
Yeah.
it's not something that's a necessity to go on vacation. Or you already have a car, but I just want this one because it's probably going to break down in a couple of years. Like you have a car that works, you have to change your mindset and say, I don't need a new car. I just want a new car. And a lot of times it's going to put you back into debt. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we actually, for the first time, paid cash for our SUV last year. So that was a great feeling. Like,
Wow. Oh, I know the dealership was mad.
they seemed like they were it, but yeah, that was like the first time that we've ever done that. Like, just gone to a dealership and literally wrote a check. So it's a good feeling. You just like I said, it just goes with changing your mindset, like deciding that we're not going to go back into debt again. You know, aside from getting this house, we
Mm-hmm.
not going to get a car payment again. So we sold a car that we had and added a bunch of savings that we had saved up for. Use that money to then get a my first SUV.
Mm.
It's that
Nice, nice.
mindset is important. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's good. So I have a question that from an audience. It says you guys took two different routes in life, but then it says, but they ended up together on their way to being debt free. Which of your routes would you recommend regarding school, etc.?
Oh, interesting.
That's a good
Yeah.
question.
And you
Um,
can,
I can say that because I've never been in college. I know, like when I was younger, a lot of people told me, "Oh, but you're missing out on college experience and stuff like that." But I still do not feel like I missed out on anything, and I feel like there's other experiences in life that aren't that expensive. I just don't really understand, like, really what they were referring to when they said I missed out on stuff. But I think that there are a lot of jobs out there that you can get without a college degree. Actually, we did a video on that 10 jobs that you can get without a college degree. You don't have to have a degree or school to be successful in life. So that's my input. What's
yeah.
yours?
If I could change anything, I wouldn't have changed going to school because I am proud to be a nurse and I'm glad I am a nurse. What I would have done differently is look for cheaper options. Even the
Hmm.
program that I went to, it was maybe 25, I think 30,000. I don't know the exact number, somewhere in
I think
that range,
20.
20,
Yeah.
20,000. There's actually a school in my area that was 10,000 for the same.
Wow.
On top of that, I could have worked. I could have taken a year off from high school, like a gap year. Because I had
Hmm.
to just worked, saved up some money, added that to whatever, and I did qualify for Pell grants, which was like $5,000 at the time. So imagine if I would have used that Pell grant, use some money I saved in cash, and I didn't even explore scholarships because there's so many that you can apply to. There's so many different options, minority scholarships, stuff like that. And I would have definitely gotten those. So I could have essentially done the same thing I'm doing now, but for free. So
Yeah.
I would go back. That's what I would do. Definitely just take advantage of resources so I don't have to take out any student loans. Because student loans, everyone, when I was in high school, they were like, oh, yeah, whatever. Somebody told me you'll always be in debt. Like, student loans don't matter. You'll just get a high salary and pay it off. That's guaranteed. So why not take advantage of your resources now and not take out any loans in the first place?
Of course, of course. And it sucks because that's how we're programmed especially in America, because they say the American dream, and people come here from as immigrants, and they go to college and this and that, and we're trained, get student loans. But look what student loan has done to so many people.
Yeah,
to the point of depression, suicide, different things. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I do agree that with like it being programmed into people's brains, like from the time that like pretty much like your senior year, they just, how many schools did you apply to? And it's fine if you do, go a college route, but I don't feel like they really give you a lot of education on what student loans can like really do to you, or other options like pay for school. Well, there are scholarships that they talk about, but just other options, period. Like maybe someone doesn't really want to go to school, and it's just you're trained to believe that that's your only option outside of high school.
Yeah. And I mean, and we live in 2022. There's so many other alternatives, of people being successful in life. I mean, we live in a computer age. There's so many people working from home, going to trade school, or becoming entrepreneurs, even though the whole entrepreneur is a little tricky. It's great that a lot of people want to be entrepreneurs, but I think it's becoming a trend as well. Oh yeah, I want to be my own boss. I want to be an entrepreneur. Cool, but it's not as easy as you think. And a lot of people, they shame those that work 9 to 5. And I'm like, but wait a second. People need to work. And two, if you're an entrepreneur and your business grows, you're going to need people to work for you. So you can't shame them. You know what I'm saying?
To buy your product, it's going to be people who have a 9 to 5. You can't talk.
Exactly. So, but there's, like I said, there's so many alternatives to going to school or being successful in life in many different ways. I want to talk about, yes, Dave Ramsey doesn't agree with that student loan debt either, as Pocahontas said. But that, you know what, I wrestle with that, not because I disagree with him, but it's just like, dang, like we're so deeply programmed that it's the only way to go to school, and it's like in my mind, I'm like, but how is that possible? Like, I don't think everybody can afford to not get a loan. Like, there's some people that probably has to. I don't know. That's just my thought process. But then again, I don't know too much about it, so that's just my thoughts.
Yeah, I think that's why, like, a lot of times he says, like, you're changing your family tree whenever you decide to make the decision to, like, be debt free and change your lifestyle and try to help your kids do that. Like, kind of like, just for example, a couple who's paid off like a bunch of debt, changing and like saving up for your kids' college is part of the baby steps that he talks about. So it's just like kind of just starting there and just teaching it, implementing that into your household and like with your kids, them not to like take out debt, things like that. And yes, I agree that not everybody has the same, not everybody can do that. And sometimes people might still end up getting student loans. But as far as like us in our household, we definitely want to, encourage them not to go that route.
Yeah. I like what this person said as well. Again, my degree feels like a nominal trophy. It does help you bypass the automated application system with trigger words and when getting hired. But other than that, it feels like a waste. Oh man, that's crazy. So I also want to talk about. So you work for the credit. You still work for the credit card company, right?
Yeah.
So we all know that Dave Ramsey is 100% no to credit card. You can't even purchase anything on his website with a credit card, unless you find a way to hack it.
I
You
know that.
can't. Yeah, you can't. You have to use the. I wonder. You have to use a debit card to buy anything from his website.
Wow.
Unless you find a way to hack the website and use a credit card. I don't know how that works, but yeah, you can't use a credit card to buy anything from there. I understand the logic. I lean more towards that way. Um, but I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts about that. I heard a little bit of it yesterday in one of your videos, um, and I go back and forth with it.
Yeah.
But one thing I can say is that I believe that the majority of people in America should not have credit cards. Like literally, the majority of people. Credit cards is, I think, number 3 or number 4 highest in debt in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1, in the, of course, is student the mortgage, and then I think it's student loan after that. But talk to us about that. What do you think about credit cards? Should we have it? Well, it's not that should we, because it's not a moral thing. But you get what I'm saying. Should we have a credit card or not? Like, what is? And you work for a credit card company, so you know the whole how that works with the point system. Talk to us about. I'm sorry, I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but talk to us about the rewards. People say, I want rewards. I want this. I go on free trips every year or whatever the case may be. But then they have to use that credit card so much with things that they don't really need to get those points. But I don't know. You're more experienced in that.
Yeah, I do. I do hear the travel thing a lot. When I first started with this company, I started in collections. So I saw a lot of people racking up credit card debt and just not paying their bill. And then when someone like me has to call them, they just are mad or they hang up. But it's that's ultimately the consequences of their actions. So I'm a little biased because I do work for a credit card company. I'm not in collections anymore. But yeah, we laugh when the topic of Dave Ramsey and not following him so strictly comes up, because anyone who actually, I don't make anybody bad, but I don't know if I should do that. But
go ahead, say it. Ain't no, I'm here for you. Ain't no one gonna do anything.
I try to watch what I say, but I won't say I think this specifically, but I'll say I know why a lot of people who don't follow him as strictly say that people who do follow him are in a cult or a little brainwashed.
Yeah.
Because you have to be able to think for yourselves and you have to find out what works for you. Yes, his principles work for majority of people. They can help, pretty much anyone get out of debt. And he uses common sense things. And I understand why he teaches every single thing that he teaches, but you also have to have your own mindset and decide what works for you. If you're someone who, doesn't have discipline, yes, I think that type of person should not have a credit card, because they're, it's a cycle basically. If you can really be disciplined with yourself and, we do have credit cards, we use them for things that we're already going to purchase. And yes, Dave Ramsey says you're not going to get rich off of credit cards. He says that. And I agree with that. You're not going to get rich off of it. But last year we made over $900 in credit card cash back. That's money every day. And now, for the last 6 months, any cash back that we earn, we put it on our mortgage.
Straight to the debt.
So
we're not even using it to buy other things. We're just straight to that debt.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that he teaches that I think, it's great and everything like that, but we don't agree with every single thing. Just videos. We do Dennis probably watches them more than I do, but
yeah, he was definitely a big reason why we got out of debt. I mean, we followed the baby steps, and it changed our mindset. Me more than her for sure, because I was just in the mindset oh, debt's just always around. You're always gonna have it. But once you start to live your life without some debt, you start to see how things are freeing up, and you just have that freedom.
Yes.
Want to go back to that?
Yeah.
Of course.
We never would have thought of paying off our mortgage as early as we were planning to, if it wasn't he definitely put that idea in our head. I probably would have never thought of that. I would have just maybe put extra on it or paid our minimum, but we're being very aggressive with it, more aggressive than we were with paying off consumer debt. So he definitely has influenced our lives in multiple ways. He's great. We love him. Like, he's funny and all that. But just some things that we do what works for us, basically.
Yeah, yeah. I listen to him all the time on the radio, especially because I have a long commute to work and coming from work. So I listen to the podcast. It's funny because I've been listening to so long that I answer before he does. Like the people call and they ask for advice about this and that, and I already answer before he does. And most of the time I'm right.
Yeah.
Right.
Or like when someone calls in, you're like, okay, I know that you've not been listening to him for very long because
Mhm.
asking like
Exactly. Exactly.
Call and ask
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Hang up, bro.
Exactly. Did you guys go through Financial Peace University too?
Mm-mm.
No.
No. Okay.
Watched him on YouTube and just kind of followed him from there.
Got it.
Yeah, no.
Got
Did
it.
you?
Got it. Yeah, we did it twice. Actually, yeah, we did it on my wife and I, we did it online. We did it online at home together, and then we did it at a church a few years later, just because I wanted to do it in a community with like-minded people, and just to hold each other accountable and whatnot. So that was interesting, and I still have access to the materials online. Like I could go back to it whenever I want, but I know they need to. I think they need to upgrade or update some of their stuff, and 'cause they do have new speakers, new Ramsey personalities, because Chris Hogan is not there anymore, and they just hired a new young woman named Jade, I think it was. I don't know
Yeah.
if you know. Yeah, I've been following. It's funny because I've been following her for months, and I
Wow.
see her bio. It says Ramsey personality, and I'm like, but I never hear her. Like I never seen her on the Ramsey show. But it seems like I guess it was a process for her to officially be on the show. So she just literally started a few weeks ago, I think, or last month, and she's dope. I've been following her for a while. She's really dope too. So I think before her, they hired Christina Ellis, which is the one that spoke about student loan. She's more expert when it comes to student loans and finding oh my gosh, what is that called? Like scholarships. Like she is amazing. Like I think she got like $500,000 in scholarship, but her mom made sure that when she was looking for scholarship, it became a full-time job looking for it. And she says that the scholarships are there. It's just that we don't look hard enough, which is why the easy route is getting a loan. You know what I'm saying? So, but I do enjoy, and you know what? It's funny because I read comments, and comments, they entertain me, especially the bad ones, like the annoying ones. And a lot of people are saying, "Oh, well, I don't like the new guys. What is it, John Deloney and this guy? Like, where's Dave Ramsey? We're not hearing him much anymore." And in my mind, I'm like, well, number one, Dave Ramsey has to prepare other people that's younger than him. Like, he's not going to be there forever. Even though he's still good, he's 60 years old, he's, whatever, but he needs to have other people prepare them. And two, I love the fact that now they're incorporating more, not just finances, but more other issues in life. People calling like issues with the marriages, with psychological help, because that all ties in with finances as well. So I get to enjoy a little aspect of all those things when it comes to the Dave Ramsey show. So which is really cool. But yes, I don't agree with everything he says. He is not the end all be all. You know what I'm saying? There's other people that we can grab, wisdom as well. And I mean, but Dave Ramsey, he's experienced. I guess he's been in debt before, which is why he's so, headstrong the way and what he teaches. I mean, he is worth like $200 million. Like the mansion that he sold. Have you seen his house prior to the house that the house I was reading that the house that he had for like 15 years, I think it was, he bought it for like 2 million, and now I think 2 years ago or something like that, he sold it for 15 million. But that thing is huge. I'm like, damn, that's a lot. But to him it's nothing. Like if he's worth 200 million, 15 million is nothing. You know what I'm saying? So exactly, so that's cool. But anyways, I want to mention about emergency fund. So we know that he speaks about $1,000, and I do too. But I think that for different people, it should be more,
Yeah,
depending if you're single or if if you're married or if you have kids. But whatever the case, whatever the amount is, I think we should all have an emergency fund. And do you know that 56% of people in America can't cover $1,000 of an emergency fund?
that's what I've heard. And it's kind of hard to believe. I think we just get so used to like having money in savings that sometimes I just assume that like everyone does. But I also understand that they don't. Like some people just don't have money in savings. And that's scary. Like anything could happen at any given moment. So,
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, and I know that pandemic also affected a lot of people when it comes to that. But I think that people need to really consider, like, man, we just got hit by a pandemic. We don't know if we can get another one in 2 years, and we're there spending money on Gucci and Prada and all this stuff that we don't really need. I'm not saying there's anything wrong to buy Gucci or whatever, but at least is it in a budget? Right? The young lady just sent, she was like, because she's a person that's very bougie, but she was like, but I'm bougie on a budget. Right? It's okay to be bougie, but be on a budget. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? Like, it's different. If you didn't have plan on spending this money that was not in your budget, then you just lost money, period.
Yeah.
You know, and you only got a satisfaction that can only last a short time because it's a name brand purse or whatever the case may be. And having an emergency fund is so vital. Oh my goodness. Like, I remember 3 years ago when I moved into this apartment that we're at now. And we were, I was excited. I picked up a U-Haul truck to go to IKEA to pick up some stuff that we purchased online. And that was a moving day. So, we go down there. It was like a 40-minute drive. We take the U-Haul, and I haven't driven a truck like that in a long time, but I know how to drive it. And you've been to IKEA before?
Yeah.
So you can park outside or inside the garage, right? So I'm driving, and my wife is on the phone talking to car dealership to make an appointment for car maintenance. And I don't know what's going in my mind. Maybe I'm just too excited that we're moving finally into this apartment, but I'm also listening to her, not focusing on what I'm really doing driving. And as I'm going into the garage, that big yellow cylinder thing that tells you like this how high you can go.
Yeah.
And I'm driving in without noticing. Oh my goodness! I crashed a U-Haul truck, and I dented the whole right part on the top. So I backed up, I parked, and I'm like, "Oh my goodness!" But I was like, "You know what? We'll be alright." Like I had to say something to like, feel better. So we went upstairs, we got our stuff, we moved, But when I went to bring back the U-Haul truck, the guy that was there was not the same guy that was in the morning. And he came out and he like noticed immediately. And he was like, what the, Oh man. So he was, and I was honest about it. I'm like, hey, this is what happened. And that it was my fault. Thank God I put insurance. But listen to this. He was like, oh, it's going to cost $2,300 to fix it.
Oh,
and I'm like, $2,300.
Wow.
But he asked, did you put insurance? And I said yes. And it was only $14 that I put insurance on it. And he was like, okay, so it's gonna be less with insurance. It's gonna be about $1,200. Oh. But I gotta call the store manager. So he called the store manager, and I don't know where that manager was because it took him an hour or an hour and a half to get there. And I'm there, I'm hot, I'm sweaty, I'm hungry, clothes are dirty because I was moving.
Yeah.
And I'm one of the most patient person ever. And the guy was like taking other customers, and I'm still waiting. And I'm like, I can't complain though because I messed up. And then the guy finally called the manager again. Hey, are you close? The customer's been waiting. He's being patient. He's being nice. He's not trying to like find his way out. Finally, the manager comes and he brought me inside, and he was a cool guy. He was on the computer. And you know what he did? You know what he was doing? He was trying to lower the price for me.
Nice.
And guess how much it costs?
What?
I winded up paying $963, but I had $1,000 in emergency fund.
There you go.
I didn't have to worry about calling somebody to loan me money. I didn't have to use a credit card, nothing. Even though it stung that I had to spend that much on a day like that I just moved, but it felt so good that I didn't have to get more into debt.
Right.
Yeah.
So you see the importance of having an emergency fund for, because who would have thought? Who would have known I would have crashed a U-Haul truck like that?
Yeah.
Anything can happen. And I love what you guys said yesterday in a video, and it made me think. I think it was you. Oh my gosh, your name again is I keep forgetting. Yes. You said something that was like, whoa, I love it. You were like, we were never gonna get in debt again, or at least we never want to be in debt again. But I'm humble. I'm paraphrasing. I don't know how exactly you said it. I'm humble enough to know that life happens and we
Yeah.
can get in debt again.
Yeah.
And that is so true. And I have to think about that often because it sucks because you work so hard, you work overtime, you do whatever you can to pay off debt. And then I've heard stories when people were so close and they got into a car accident right before paying off the last payment of their car. And they had no choice but to get another car loan. Like it hurts, but I have to realize that anything can happen in life that could put me in debt that's out of my control, like medical stuff.
Yeah.
I can't control that. If I get sick, I get into an accident, that wasn't even my fault. Like I can't control that. That's a debt right there if I don't have the money. You know what I'm saying? So it is a real thing. So I want to mention the last part, which I actually forgot what I wanted to say. Great. But yes, I definitely enjoyed your story. There's a lot of people that need to hear more of these stories. And the debt-free screams on the Dave Ramsey show, it's amazing. I have to listen to it over and over in so many stories because it just keeps me motivated. And like oh my God, so some of them maybe make me cry, like literally, and it's just a wow. But it's a great feeling.
I'm a super emotional person too. So watching it sometimes I'm just like, oh my gosh, like that's so like it just makes you happy. Like hearing people, it's almost just like you feel like the shackles are just breaking off of them as they're screaming.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just how I just
for real. It is
that part of the show.
Yeah.
Doing the debt-free scream. I wouldn't mind like if we pay off our mortgage, like going. That would be fun. Yeah. So our goal
it's beautiful
in 2025. So
okay. Okay, that's really good, really good. It's funny, there was a story of a young black woman who was a nurse, single mother, and I think she shared her story on stage in a conference that Dave Ramsey had, and she had a little girl, and she was sharing her story of how she was working a lot and not really seeing her daughter, to the point that she became a stay-at-home mom. Like she just started crying and she just wanted to be with her daughter, and she left the nursing job, just to be with her daughter. And it was like, wow, like if she can do it as a single mother, we as married people can definitely do it.
Right.
Like no excuses. We cannot make excuses. It's gonna be hard, but we cannot make excuses. Who's your favorite motivational speaker? She said mine is E.T. I don't know who E.T. is. Are you talking about the alien, the movie E.T.?
That's what I thought of too.
No, I have not heard of who E.T. is. I don't know. Do you have a motivational speaker that you have favorite or you like?
I don't know about my favorite, but I do listen a lot to Anthony O'Neill, the former Rams.
Oh yeah.
His stuff,
Yeah.
Kind of approach. He's kind of, he's advertising to millennials. He's making it cool to get out of debt. Because, now all the fast money, entrepreneur, buy this thing with 0% down, pay this, rent this, duplex, blah, blah, blah. He's making it cool to be like, hey, being debt free is cool too. And he, he show what he's done and show that it's possible. So I like it.
Yeah, for sure. I do listen to him. I like the people that he brings on, and I'm like, wow, amazing stories. But we're coming to an end. We could go on and on and on, but I definitely enjoyed it. I hope everybody in the chat and those that will post watch this live, that they can also be inspired, motivated, which is my YouTube handle is Ovalle, which is my last name, Ovalle Inspiración. Inspiración is inspiration, but in Spanish. So I definitely was inspired by your stories. I'm gonna definitely keep watching your videos and show support. For those that would like to show support and know where you can find them, this is their YouTube handle, right? Live with, right? That's what it is, right? Live Without Loans.
Yep.
That's their Instagram, as well. Live Without Loans. You can find them there. They just recently started their YouTube channel, so you can go and find them there, comment, interact, subscribe to their channel, and be inspired. And not only be inspired, but also do the work as well if you are in debt.
Yeah.
So yeah. So any last words you want to share, especially for those that feel like it's impossible, or they just feel like they don't know what to do or where to start?
If you're someone who thinks it's impossible, definitely reach out to us, because if you need help with your budget, anything like that, it's not impossible. But I'm glad we can inspire other people. I also feel like if we could do it, anyone could do it, because it's a big feat. Like it was a lot of money. And we were just regular people. Like we don't have any inheritance. Like Dave Ramsey always said, we don't have no type of like crazy stuff. Like when I at my job, I was making like $12 an hour. So by the time that we started paying on debt, it wasn't much later. It was probably like a year and a half or so later. I took advantage of overtime. Like I really just have to, like, what is the word I'm looking for? Sacrifice. You really have to sacrifice and just decide, like, is the end result worth it to you? So that's my last few thoughts.
And I feel like, the average student loan debt in America is about 30,000, roughly that now. And I had almost 3 times that. So I just want to show people that it's possible. People just feel like there's no way out. They just feel trapped. We just want to show that it's possible. I mean, we didn't make high salaries. We started off doing this, not making that much. So
yeah,
it's possible if you just budget and work a lot, and you can get through it too.
Yeah.
This is Nonya. If you can DM us on Instagram. Our Instagram is Live Without Loans. And yeah, that's the main way, really.
Yeah. Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, I appreciate you guys for taking your time to come on and share your story and inspire other people. And I hope that you keep doing your thing and keep hearing more updates. And especially when that mortgage, oh man, that's gonna be wonderful. That's gonna be wonderful. But yeah, keep doing your thing. Don't give up. And it's still only the beginning. You got more to go.
Yeah. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
Yeah.
No problem. Well, everybody else in the chat, I appreciate you guys. I miss you guys. I know I haven't seen you guys in a while, but you see me now. I plan to go on more often, hopefully, and doing more shorts. But in the meantime, just watch other videos. Peace.